the Olympic flame, and the Olympic rings. These things are all recognizable worldwide. They are symbols of both unity and competition, a time when all countries across the globe are invited to come together and at the same time try to stand out as the best. Quite the paradox, no? So we all know that we have both Summer and Winter Olympics, but which one is better? The Summer Olympics were inspired by ancient Greece's Pan-Hellenic Games, which took place between 776 BC to 394 AD. The first official modern Summer Olympics, first known as the Games of the Olympiad, was held in Athens, Greece in 1896. The Games have always run every 4 years, with the exception of the canceling of the 1916 Games due to World War I, and they were also canceled in 1940 and 1944 due to World War II. In 1948, when the Games resumed, Germany and Japan were subsequently excluded. The 2020 Olympics were also canceled due to COVID pandemic. Some important markers in the history of the Summer Olympics include such things as the introduction of handing out medals in 1904, and the first torch relay that was introduced in Berlin at the 1936 Games. In 1964, the Summer Games were held in Tokyo, Japan, being both the first host country in Asia and also the first time the Games were to be broadcast on TV. In 1968, when the Games were held in Mexico, all the athletes were heavily affected by the area's altitude. And in 1976, the Montreal Canadian Mafia hacked funds from the Games through faulty building contracts, which resulted in delays, poor construction, and excessive costs. In 2016, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil became the very first country in South America to host the Summer Games. The very first Summer Olympics held 42 events, hosted 14 nations, and included only 250 exclusively male competitors, 200 of which were Greek, with 100,000 spectators in attendance. Even though most of the competitors were Greek, it was the US that walked away with the most champions. The second Summer Olympics was held in Paris, which included 20 female competitors, and the addition of croquet, golf, sailing, and tennis. The current Games now hold 339 events, last hosted 206 nations, and included 11,420 competitors, nearly 50% being female. The International Olympic Committee chooses a new location for each Olympics being held every 4 years. They have been held in 19 different countries so far, which include 4 times in the USA, 3 times in Great Britain, twice in each of Greece, France, Germany, Australia, and Japan, and once in each of Sweden, Belgium, Netherlands, Finland, Italy, Mexico, Canada, Russia, South Korea, Spain, China, and Brazil. This year's Games is being hosted by France, which will be the country's 3rd time. There are only 5 countries that have participated in every single Summer Olympics ever held. They are Australia, France, Great Britain, Greece, and Switzerland. Australia, France, and Great Britain have all won at least 1 medal every year, with Great Britain being the only country to win a gold every time. The USA, however, holds the title for the most medals won of all time, and they have topped the charts 18 separate times, followed by the Soviet Union with 6 times. The first Winter Olympics were officially held in 1924 in Chamonix, France. The inspiration for such games came not only from the Summer Olympics, but also from the Nordic Games, which were held in Sweden in 1901, 03, 05, and then every 4th year afterwards until 1926. Before introducing the Winter Olympics, the IOC tried adding figure skating to the Summer Olympics in 1908. They subsequently had planned to also add speed skating, figure skating, ice hockey, and skiing to the 1916 Olympics. However, these Summer Olympics were canceled due to World War I. The resurrection of the Summer Olympics in 1920 after the war, in which Germany, Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Turkey were banned, the committee did manage to include figure skating and ice hockey. Due to the growing interest in snow and ice sports, the IOC decided that in 1924, France was to host an International Winter Sports Week, which actually lasted 11 days. There were 16 events, 16 participating nations, and 250 athletes with 10,004 spectators. The first 5 sports included in the Winter Olympics, spanning across 9 different disciplines, were bobsled, curling, ice hockey, skiing, and skating. Finland and Norway won 28 medals that year, which was more than all the other countries combined. It was in 1928 that the IOC renamed the Games the Winter Olympics, and the 1924 Games was retroactively rebranded. Unfortunately, the second Winter Olympics in 1928, hosted in Switzerland, was plagued with bad weather. The opening ceremony was held in a blizzard, and then warm weather followed the rest of the games to the point that speed skating had to be canceled. It was this year that Sonju Henie of Norway became the youngest Olympic champion ever at age 15, and she subsequently held that title for the next 70 years. The Winter Olympics were originally held to line up on the same 4-year cycle as the Summer Olympics. But in 1986, the committee had the idea to stagger the Winter Games to alternate every 2 years with the Summer Games. So the scheduled 1996 Winter Games was moved to the 1994 and then continued again in 1998, with the 1996 Summer Olympics being held in between. The Winter Olympics have been held in 13 countries, which include 4 times in the USA, 3 times in France, twice in Switzerland, Austria, Norway, Japan, Italy, and Canada, and once in each of Germany, Yugoslavia, Russia, South Korea, and China. The 2026 Games are scheduled to be hosted in Italy for the 3rd time. So far, there have been no countries in the Southern Hemisphere to host the Winter Games, as the Games are cold weather dependent, and they are usually held in February, which happens to be summertime in the Southern Hemisphere. There are 12 countries that have participated in every single year of the Winter Olympics so far, and those countries are Austria, Canada, France, Finland, Great Britain, Hungary, Italy, Norway, Poland, Sweden, Switzerland, USA, and Czechoslovakia, up until their dissolution, and then its replacements, Czechia and Slovakia, have both each participated in all games held after that. Finland, USA, Austria, Canada, Norway, and Sweden have all won medals every time. But the USA is the only country that has won at least 1 gold medal every time. The country with the highest amount of medals won in the Winter Olympics of all time is Norway. Although, if we include the idea that Germany is composed of both former West Germany and East Germany, then Germany would be the leader, with Norway placing second. So, view it how you like. Norway, however, has topped the chart with the most medals won per year 9 times, and the Soviet Union comes in second place at 7 times. Notable markers in the Winter Olympics timeline include the second games, in which Switzerland with warm weather caused speed skating to be canceled, and then again in 1964 in Austria, when the lack of snow led to the Austrian army being enlisted to transport snow and ice from other places in order for the Games to continue. 1968 in France was the first Winter Olympics to be broadcast on TV in color, and then in 1994, Kim Yoon-mi of South Korea gained the title of the youngest Olympic champion of all time at age 13 in women's speed skating. If you love sports, then you probably love both the Summer and Winter Olympics. Each has its own popular draws. But the main problem with the Winter Olympics is that it is so weather dependent. Another issue is that it requires a mountain location which delivers an 800-meter altitude difference. The IOC has a limit on how far the distance can be between the mountain location and the main host city. Therefore, arenas and hotels often need to be built in remote and sparsely populated areas that will see little to no use afterwards. This is very costly for the host country and limiting to who can even apply to host. So, due to its ancient connections, large number of events, and the fact that it has less costly requirements, this trophy and gold medal is being awarded to the Summer Olympics. What is your favorite sport in the Olympics? Did you ever dream of competing in the Olympics? Let us know in the comments below. You could make our dreams come true by hitting that like and subscribe button. Up next, what is the best video game of 2024?